Welcome to Dog on the Plot. I'm Kerry, this is Dory, and we're on the plot, and hurrah for daylight savings time. It is so lovely to be out on the plot on a weekday in the evening and the sun be shining. It is a glorious day, and I do have some jobs that I want to do, but right now, just kind of soaking it up. So it's lovely to just come down here and listen to the birds and just enjoy being here. But I do have a job to do, and it's a time-sensitive job, and that's why I've come down after work, because at the weekend I got a little delivery. Now, I was tempted into this purchase by Joe and Emily at the Lottie Plotty, and they had got the most beautiful peach tree, a little patio tree that they were keeping in their greenhouse. And I started thinking, well, that would be ideal for my greenhouse. And because I don't stop at one and do not do things by halves, I actually got a patio tree collection, and it arrived at the weekend, and I unpackaged them as soon as I could and popped them into a bucket of water, and they've been soaking in the water for 24 hours. And now they're ready to plant. So here they are. I brought them down in a compost bag, and we've got, I think the smallest one is that the Crimson Bonfire? I can check the name for you now as well. So that one, oh no, this is the apricot, and that's apricot, Aprigold. So that's the apricot. Go, put it down carefully. And then this one is the nectarine, and this one is called Garden Beauty. So Garden Beauty nectarine. And then this one must be the peach tree. Yes, it has had quite a lot of branches, but a very small root. But it did say on the website that they cut the root small to encourage new growth. So this is the Patio peach crimson, but I think it's Crimson Bonfire. But yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. And I need to get these into pots because I do want them to go into the greenhouse, but I'm waiting on a compost delivery. It should be coming on Thursday. And of course, I haven't put the glass in the greenhouse, and we'll need to maneuver around the greenhouse while we do that. So although I know where the greenhouse is being positioned and they could go directly into the ground, I think it's much more sensible to put them in pots for now and then put them into the ground when everything is ready. So that's what my first job down here is, get these potted up. Now I've got this compost here that I brought over from the old plot, and I put it here to see what the weed situation would be, what would pop up. And actually, there's nothing too bad coming up so far. Anyway, this will be perfect for just healing in these trees. Now, as I said, these trees have been soaking for about 24 hours. You really need to do them at least a couple of hours, if not 12 hours, according to the website instructions. And I'm just going to place these in the pots. Not gone for very big pots because they shan't be in here for that long, is the idea. And then I'm just going to cover up the roots up until the graft, although it doesn't really matter again because they're not going to be in these pots this long. This is just about keeping them alive until they can go into their final positions. Now I'm going to store the trees in the greenhouse so they get used to these kinds of conditions, because that's where they're going to be living, and I'm going to give them a good watering. Now I need another bucket for my next job, which requires emptying one, and oh dear, I can see we might have a problem in this bucket. Can you see that there? That is potato foliage. So these are old potatoes. They're my main crop from last year, the Sarpamira. And I've been storing them in the buckets in the polytunnel. And you've seen me harvest these a few times, but there's still 4 buckets left, 3 now if I take these ones out. Let's see if they've gone a bit mushy then, if they've started sprouting. Right. Oh, this mud is really thick in here. I used the compost, homemade compost, there's lots of worms, from the old plot, because I was trying to see if there were weeds in it, if there were bindweed in. And some did have bindweed, but not all. And this one looks fine. It's really hard to get into. Let's try tipping it over. Oh, there we go. I can see some potatoes now. Oh, that one is definitely rotted. Oh, there we go. There we go. Now, there is a slight fear when you see these roots that it's bindweed, but it's not. It's actually the sprouts off the potatoes. But the potatoes themselves seem quite firm. Obviously, that's a very small one. There are some larger ones in here. Let's pop them in the basket. Right, that's, I guess, 1.5 jobs done, because it's only half harvesting the potatoes, because then I've got to do the thing that I want the bucket for. But that was not bad. I mean, I'm not going to lie, that's not the greatest harvest of potatoes. They're fairly small, but there are some better sized ones, and I've just laid them out on the black plastic over there to get some sunshine on them and dry them out a little bit before taking them home, although I don't think I'll have to store them for long. I'm pretty sure they'll get eaten quite quickly. But yeah, I'm not growing Sarpamira again this year. I've got King Edward and Steester, and I've not overly thought that much of the Sarpamira. I know they're supposed to be like the potato to grow for pest resistance, and actually those ones look fine. There's no, well, limited scab on them for how long that they've been in the buckets, but the last ones I harvested had loads of holes in from slugs and things, but not so much this lot, so that's quite good. Yeah, not the most impressive harvest in the world, but I'll take it. So the second part of that job is also potato related. Harvest some, sow some. These are the last of my first early potatoes. These are the Red Duke of York. They've got the most wonderful chits on them. They're very much ready to be planted. Come on then. No? This dog is a pain at the moment. She wants her dinner, I think. Do you want your dinner? Is that it? Just a couple more jobs to do and then we can go home. Although I don't really want to, because it's so nice out here. Anyway. First earlies. I have 7 of these. I'm going to do them in the buckets, although that doesn't divide neatly into 2 buckets, does it? Right, so I'm going to need to put 4 in one and the 3 in another. So I'll pick the smallest for the ones with 4. So that one's quite small. That one's small. That one. And that one. Look what I just noticed in the polytunnel. Not only is the guttering still hanging from the polytunnel, but the peas are emerging. Yay! They haven't all rotted this time. Yeah, I still haven't put the ends on. things in here actually are really filling out. The Bronze Beauty lettuce looks absolutely stunning, but there's a lot of things that are starting to bolt in here as well. So I'm going to harvest some of the shoots of various of the Asian greens and such. But the brassicas, some are looking pretty good. Now, of course, I have no idea what any of these are. With the exception of these at the end, which are Tortondine kale cuttings. That one is looking particularly good. They do look like they've had a bit of nibbling though. And then on the other side, some have bolted, but others are looking really quite nice. This is the kale. Not sure what those ones are. I think these were all Calabrese actually, and chickweed. But in amongst the chickweed here is radishes that we planted. So there was a row of radish down there competing with the chickweed. And over here, you see these little seedlings? Now, I don't think those are chickweed. I'm hopeful that that's the patch of coriander that I sowed. Now, I feel like I had another job that I was supposed to be doing, but I can't think of it. But what I do need to do is harvest some of this purple sprouting broccoli. Now, if you remember when we were down here a little while ago and I was bringing these out of the polytunnel, Mark covered them for me in the netting because I was worried about the pigeons and I'd forgotten to do it. But, oh yes, when I took these out, I said I thought we would get some purple sprouting broccoli off of these plants, and indeed we will. So that's great. I'm not quite sure what to take because this is quite spindly. This is not really how it's supposed to look. But nevertheless, it is still edible and I'm sure will still taste very good. Well, that was a rather unexpected harvest actually. Wasn't expecting to take home a basket full of stuff, but we've got the potatoes. I've took out some chard, so might have a stir fry tonight. And then the Bronze Beauty lettuce, which is absolutely gorgeous. Some slightly bolted lamb's lettuce, the purple sprouting broccoli, fabulous. Some of the Osterian tree cabbage sprouts, which the pigeons seem to be allowing to recover now, and some sprouts from the Asian greens as well. So that's brilliant. So I suppose I better get all that home before it starts wilting. Get this dog her dinner. And oh, the church did text about 10 minutes ago and said the grass clippings are ready, so I need to go and collect those. We've got to collect those on the way home, Dory. Maybe get the grass clippings, give you a walk, and then we'll meet you back here on Thursday morning, bright and early, to take the compost delivery. Good morning. It's 6:30 a.m. on the plot. Don't think this is quite the earliest I've ever been on the plot, but it's a little bit cold, so my eyes might be streaming slightly. And I'm a little bit late for this compost delivery because I got all the way here, forgot I had to bring the money, and had to go all the way back. So I'm going to rush up to the gate now and see if he's there. It's a little bit chilly, but it's supposed to be 19 degrees today. 19 degrees, it was like 18 yesterday. Unfortunately, these are the 2 days that I'm supposed to be at work. Not supposed to be, I am at work. And so I'm gonna miss it. But luckily, this guy could deliver first thing in the morning. So I said, it'll have to be about 7 a.m. because I've got to be in Birmingham for 9. And I've not had much sleep. I seem to have dreamt about this compost delivery all night long. Oh God, here he is. Well, there we go. There's £150 worth of compost. How much is that in YouTube editing hours? 40, 50, something like that. It doesn't look a lot when it's all kind of piled up, but once you start shoveling it, you realize it's a lot. But yeah, so Mark had the same amount of compost, and this is what he's done with his. He's pretty much filled, yeah, he has now really filled every single one of the new raised beds on my sister's side of the plot. He's got a dumpy bag of some of the compost there. Obviously, he's got 2 beds here still to make and fill. And then where we've just had the compost dumped, he's still got all of that. So back over this side, all of this is also going to mirror what's on there, I think. Whether he does that right away, because as I said, the grass under here still needs really killing off. We did pull it up a little bit when we were shoveling Mark's compost, and you can see it is dying down, but it takes a while. It takes a while to kill off grass, but eventually this will all be raised beds too. You may have also noticed another new addition to the plot. So this is another freebie greenhouse. It actually was on a plot just over the way and they didn't want it anymore. So Mark, who just like collects greenhouses for a hobby, I think, was like, sure, that can go on my side of the plot. So another really big greenhouse, not quite as big as my sister's. And actually, we've been really enjoying sitting in there. Let me show you. So I've already opened up all the greenhouse doors and the polytunnel, because as I say, it's going to be really hot today. But it's lovely in here. Just grabbed my tea again, but yeah, it's really nice to just come in here and be able to sit. I don't know, it might seem a bit of a waste of a greenhouse to just have this as the social area, but I mean, we've got enough greenhouses, so we could. And I think that's certainly my sister's idea, that she'll have her pots of flowers all in here, but actually it'll also be a seating area. Might get a little bit hot in the summer. You might see that I put my fruit trees in here. I thought there's so much room in here, and I was squeezing by them in my little greenhouse, so I thought they could go in here. My sister did say, this greenhouse is not for your trees, Kerry, but I think I'm getting away with it. I mean, the social area is supposed to be this area where the cardoons are, but the cardoons will need moving before we can do that. And now that they've got a little bit bigger, that's quite a job. Now, I didn't know how long I was going to be waiting, so I have brought my breakfast down with me. Have I eaten breakfast on the plot before? Either plot? I don't think I have. So that'll be nice. I've opened up, as I said, the greenhouses, and the only other thing I think I want to do here before work, other than just enjoy being in here in the blossom, is pick some greens for my lunch at work today. So I'll go in the polytunnel and pick some greens in a moment. But first of all, so sit back and eat my breakfast. This is really such a joy whenever I come in here. I'm so glad that I decided to plant this up over the winter rather than just leave it fallow until the tomatoes went in. There's so much food here, and the peas are going. And I've sown up another piece of guttering in the home garden now as well. Right, I need some leaves then for my lunch. I think I'm going to go with the Bronze Beauty lettuce, which is looking absolutely fabulous. And we've got some of the lamb's lettuce here that is bolted. There's a bit of this lettuce as well. So we'll have a few of those. Just need enough for my lunch. There we go, that's perfect. Right, I'm gonna go home, add that to my lunch, and then I guess I better get to Birmingham. Right, back here then at the weekend to do some shoveling. Right, it's time to crack on and get all of this over there. But now I'm thinking about it, I think that I probably need to do this in stages and that there's some prep work that needs doing. So what I'm thinking is that probably each of these beds needs hoeing before I put the mulch on top. I'm calling it a mulch. My hope is that it's going to feed the soil, it's going to improve the soil, but it's also going to keep the weeds down. But I think the first job is to make sure that those weeds are disturbed and the roots are kind of cut off. So if I go bed by bed, hoe it, water it. We haven't had much rain in a long time. It seems like the ground is pretty hard. So maybe I water it, maybe put down some seaweed feed, some of the granules, and then put the compost on top. I'm thinking a couple of barrows per square. Yeah, well, I'm just going to crack on. We'll see how we go. We'll see what we get to by lunchtime. Right, one down, 26 to go. Well, as the sun starts to go down, it's about 6:30 now. I think I'm ready to call it day done. So I'll swizzle you around and you can see how far I got. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I exceeded my expectations, I think. How many do you think I did? How many of the beds do you think I managed to fill? Well, the answer isn't all of them, but it is a significant amount. I think 16 beds. So I did the whole of the front. I didn't do where the bulbs are. So I left that bare because the bulbs don't really need it. But yeah, so did those. Did the 2 on this side. Oh no, sorry, 3 on this side. I only did 2 on this side because the bamboo canes and the arches are covering that one. I could have moved them, but I didn't. I did 2 on that side there. This was the last one that I just did. And even on that last one, I was still doing it properly. I'm quite pleased with myself that I wasn't cutting corners as I am wont to do. But I did the hoe, weed, water, feed, and then mulch, and also supported all of the broad beans as well. So I'm pretty chuffed with myself on that. Anyway, so I did those ones, and then these 2, then the 2 behind there, and then this one. So the beds that had the field beans in, I tried not to cover them up completely so that they can still grow. And then the last one is the garlic and onion beds, and don't they look great now with that black gold backdrop? So yeah, there we go. So I was tempted to keep going and just finish those last 3 in the corner there, but I am conscious of pushing it too far. In fact, I think I've probably pushed it too far already, but I am super chuffed with what I've achieved today, and I'm sure I can do those few last beds over the week coming. So I think I'm going to call it a night. Thank you for spending some time with me. Take care, and I hope to see you next week.